Hi, I'm Lynette, and this is video 3 of this collage abstract art series. And within this video, you'll see the last layers of 3 paintings, and then you'll see those final paintings. And I'm going to tell you why I think that they're finished, which is always a question that people have. Is this painting finished? Is it not? So thank you for joining me. And if you have any comments or questions, please put them below. And also, I would love it if you would share it with friends. So let's continue. Here are the 3 small abstract collage art paintings that I've been working on, or at least 3 of the many that I've been working on. And I'm just going to go through the layers, the final layers, and what I'm doing with them. And then at the end, I will discuss with you the finished paintings, why I think they're finished, and so you can get an idea, because sometimes we go, am I done? Am I really done? So we'll chat about that at the end. With this one, I added a white line on it, and I quite like the shape of the line. And I'm just going to add and emphasize it a little bit more and see how this turns out. It's interesting how when you're painting and you're just in the flow and so many ideas are coming into your mind and you're just intuitively reacting to it. And that's what, by doing it over and over again, when you're just painting and practicing and doing it, then the intuition and the ideas and the thoughts start to come more readily to you. And that's when magic starts to happen, because the confidence starts to build a little bit more as well. And with this one, I'm just adding, seeing if I should add more white, make it a little bit more solid, a little bit more opaque, switching it around. What does it look like either way? That's pretty good. Liking how that one looks. So on to the other ones. This one, trying to push that angled shape into the background. It was a little bit too harsh for me, at least at the moment. And I don't know if you've ever thought about it like I do with this. Here I am rubbing it off. And sometimes you want that undo button in real life, but it doesn't happen. So you just continue ahead and know that you can make something out of it. This other one, just going to work on these 2, get them to a point, and they are close. They just need a little bit more happening. At least I think they're close. By wiping some of it off, just gives it a little bit more layers. And we're just going to concentrate on these 2 right now. What does it need? Let's try a bold stroke to it. Greater contrast, because it was starting to be a little bit muted on it. So what will happen if I do another stroke? Still debating on that one. I do like the lines, especially when you're doing a stroke on a textured background and it leaves those imperfect edges on it. When you can see the texture underneath, I quite like that. Although that shape on the bottom left is too much, it's too harsh. Can I get some lines in there so that it'll soften it a little bit, add a little bit of interest? No, it's not going to work. Not going to work. Bye-bye. We'll take that one out. Switch these things around. This other one really does, I think it's going to be going with more black paint. Maybe. Let's see what I can do with it. Pushing this into the back. Again, it feels, I almost automatically at times will create symmetrical shapes to it, half and half, and it doesn't, even though symmetrical is balanced, more times than not, I want it to be not as balanced. So we're going to focus on this one and see what I can do, because now the background is set. It's quite interesting. It has some things happening. So what if I come in and add these white lines to it to start to activate it? Because the background is really quite interesting. And now I just need to give it a little bit more oomph to it. add some differing shapes to it, different marks. And by doing this with the white, it's splitting it up, but it's not splitting it up evenly, which I like. And I know we jumped to this one really quickly because I want to get to the finished paintings. So with this one, we still have bold lines, and I've added these thin lines to it as well to add a little contrast. And I want you to know that I don't get these thin lines right all the time. Sometimes they look like I'm really easily doing it, but I do have to go back in and fix them. Now, here are all the finished pieces, and I thought I would tell you why I think that they are finished. With this one, I do like it in many ways, which is always a good sign. But also I really like the combination of the small thin lines and the larger shapes. The lines have such intricacy, and the shape of them is really quite interesting to me. Even though it could be quite symmetrical, with the white here, it doesn't feel as symmetrical, especially with these white lines coming into it. So they're activating this dark space. Even though there's quite a bit of interest in behind here with all the different layers, if that white wasn't there, I think it would be a little bit too lost. So I really like that. I like how this ends not as a solid shape, so that the white is fading out and there's just a little bit, so it's not the same solid shape here. I like that. I really enjoy that these lines aren't touching. I think it adds a little bit more interest, and it might even be a little too harsh. If they were all connecting directly like they are here, I think it adds more interest. I just really like this. I like that shape. And then there's this one that, this went through a lot of layers. It has a lot of history that it could tell if it could talk. And now it's so simplified, but I love the simplicity of it. I love the wide, thick brush stroke of the two of them. I like how they're touching and how they create that little bit of tension in there. And then if you were to imagine if those thin lines weren't there, it probably would work. But I like to add just a little bit more to it. And by adding these little thin lines, it activates this space even more and draws more attention to it. And because there's so much happening here, I don't find a need to activate these spaces as much. They have a lot of depth to them when you come in close and you can see it. So there is a richness about it. It's not as if it was just a plain color, solid and no interest to it. So I really like that. And it would depend upon which way you put it, depending upon what went next to it. Now this one, I really like it. It's more complex and it works a lot of different ways. I like the different shapes that it has. It has solid shapes. It has brush strokes that are thicker, medium stroke, and these little fine ones that aren't too prominent. They sort of fade into the background. So there's different layers of looking at it. Not everything is going, look at me, look at me, look at me. And it works in different ways. I like this angle in here. Oh, and that to me, actually, it looks like almost a little dolphin face. Oh, that's so cute. I like it even more. Sometimes I don't like faces, but this time actually, I quite like that. That's so cute. But I like also about this is that it has complex shapes underneath and then more simple shapes here. So it gives a little bit of eye relief because things are happening a lot. And my eye will flow around the page. It feels good. It feels like it has a balance. And it's interesting how things can have a balance in complexity, and things can have a balance in its simplicity. Art is just amazing. We can do so many things with it. And I've also done some others, but we can chat about them another time. For some of more complex shapes to them, little simple. Again, a little play on this. These could be a series. It was happening. It seemed to develop like that. And so I thank you for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comment section and I'll be happy to I'll be happy to answer them. You can ask the questions, I'll answer them. And I'd be thrilled if you subscribed. Bye for now, and we shall see you next time.